There are moments in motorsports that leave competitors, teams, and fans reflecting long after the checkered flag has waved. This past weekend delivered one of those moments. What unfolded was not simply another late race restart, nor was it just an example of youthful aggression behind the wheel. Instead, it ignited a debate that has reached across the garage area and into the fan base, raising questions about where the line truly stands between bold racing and questionable judgment in today's NASCAR Cup Series. The focus centers on events from Sunday's NASCAR Cup Series race at NASCAR Cup Series competition at Atlanta Motor Speedway, in a high pressure overtime restart, with his first career Cup Series victory within reach. 23-year-old Carson Hocevar made a move that immediately became the defining moment of the race. As the field charged toward the finish, Hocevar saw an opening between Christopher Bell and Bubba Wallace. With the intensity that defines late race restarts at Atlanta, he committed to the gap. By the time he arrived, the space had disappeared. Bell's car ended up in the wall. Hocevar crossed the finish line in fourth place. There was no victory celebration, no trophy. Instead, there was controversy. Anyone familiar with racing at Atlanta understands the stakes and the chaos that often accompany restarts there, particularly in the closing laps. The track's configuration and drafting dynamics create tight packs and rapid decision making. Drivers know that hesitation can mean the difference between winning and watching someone else take the checkered flag. For a young competitor still searching for his first Cup Series win, the urgency is amplified. Hocevar, at 23 years old, is widely regarded as a driver with significant potential, still building his resume and working to establish himself among the sport's elite. However, the move immediately drew scrutiny, and one veteran voice addressed it directly. Denny Hamlin spoke candidly on his podcast Actions Detrimental, offering a pointed assessment of what he described as a recurring pattern. Hamlin expressed frustration with what he sees as a commonly used explanation in situations like this: the idea that a driver was just going for it. According to Hamlin, that phrase has become an easy defense, one he believes overlooks the distinction between calculated aggression and poor judgment. On the podcast, Hamlin posed a rhetorical comparison. He suggested that if he were 3 car lengths behind Hocevar and drove through the grass into turn 1 in an attempt to make up ground, it would not simply be viewed as going for it. He questioned whether such an action would instead be considered a mistake. His message was direct and unfiltered. In his view, there is a meaningful difference between racing hard and making a decision that never needed to be made. Hamlin stated that discussions about Hocevar's decision-making have been ongoing for approximately a year and a half. He described it as a repeated conversation, referencing what he perceives as a pattern rather than an isolated incident. He also acknowledged that giving the situation further attention was not something he particularly welcomed, adding that he believes Hocevar may embrace the spotlight that accompanies moments like these. That assertion alone intensified the reaction, as it suggested that the debate extended beyond a single restart and into questions of consistency and approach. As the racing community reacted, comparisons quickly surfaced. Many fans pointed to an incident from the previous week's Daytona 500 involving Riley Herbst. On the final lap of that race, Herbst made a move down the front stretch while attempting to secure the victory. At the same time, Brad Keselowski had built significant momentum. The two made contact, triggering a major wreck that collected multiple cars. Observers questioned whether the situations were fundamentally the same, both involving aggressive moves in pursuit of a win. Hamlin rejected that comparison. He explained that, in the Daytona incident, Herbst was racing with a car positioned on his right rear quarter panel, an area not visible to the driver from inside the cockpit. Hamlin noted that Herbst was traveling approximately 5 miles per hour faster and turned toward what appeared to be open racetrack, unaware that the number 6 car had arrived at the same moment. In Hamlin's assessment, that scenario differs substantially from initiating contact with a competitor directly ahead. The distinction, as described by Hamlin, centers on visibility and awareness. He characterized the Atlanta restart as a situation in which the gap was clearly not available, with Bell directly in front of Hocevar. From his perspective, that transforms the move from a calculated risk into what he considers recklessness. It is this interpretation that has fueled ongoing discussion throughout the garage and across the sports fan base. At the heart of the debate lies a broader question about modern NASCAR. Wins carry significant weight. Playoff points matter. Sponsorship relationships are closely tied to performance and perception. A driver's reputation within the garage can influence future interactions on the racetrack. In this environment, aggressive moves are both celebrated and scrutinized. Drivers are expected to race hard, especially when a victory is within reach. At the same time, there is an unwritten understanding about racecraft and respect among competitors. For Hocevar, the outcome was immediate and visible. Instead of celebrating a first Cup Series triumph, he found himself at the center of a high profile discussion about judgment and maturity. The spotlight, as Hamlin suggested, is now firmly focused not only on Hocevar's speed, but also on his decision making under pressure. This incident has become more than a late race moment. It has evolved into a conversation about standards, growth, and the balance between boldness and restraint in one of motorsport's most competitive arenas. As the dust settles from Atlanta, the questions remain active, and the racing community continues to examine what defines acceptable aggression at the highest level.